Hi, welcome to the first episode of our series on why you should consider studying in Atlantic Canada. Now, just to give you guys a short brief on what Atlantic Canada is. Atlantic Canada is referred to as the areas and the provinces that are located on the eastern coast of Canada, Newfoundland, Labrador, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI, which is Prince Edward Island. I personally live in New Brunswick and have been living here for the past 4 years, going to university. And so in this video, I'd be presenting to you the 5 reasons why you should consider studying in Atlantic Canada. So number 1 is smaller universities. Eastern coast of Canada is already known to have less number of people. On top of that, we have smaller universities in this part of Canada too. And as a result, we get a lot of people coming in from different parts of Canada, especially from Ontario and from British Columbia, who decide to come to the East Coast to advance their education. We have world-class education facilities, we have great universities, and we have one of the oldest universities on the continent of North America that people have known so far. Now, just to give you guys an idea of how small I'm talking about, I come from a city of 1.5 million people in India, and you still have to kind of Google search it and place a particular pinpoint on the map in order to find where it is. But when I say small in Canada, in Atlantic Canada, I mean really small. Mount Allison University, which I graduated from, has about 2,500 students, and that's considered as an average size for any other university in Atlantic Canada. Some of the other smaller universities that are also known for highly specialized programs, which have a lot of programs and courses that you can take, which are highly specialized and are highly valued by employers, include ACADIA University, which has some really great programs. There's St. Mary's. We also have larger universities like the University of New Brunswick in Fredericton. We have Dalhousie University, which is located in Halifax, and Memorial University of Newfoundland, which is located in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. All the universities come with a lot of benefits of their own, such as it's very easy for you to make friends with people, with the community, with the locals, and it's not that hard to get involved once you come here as a student. From my personal experience, if you move to a bigger city, it becomes kind of really hard to kind of integrate into this community, into the society, and you tend to form a bubble from which you cannot break away. That restricts a lot of opportunities for you because, and by bubble I mean, for example, like ethnic bubbles, like Indian students would stick around with Indian students and Chinese students would stick around with Chinese students. While in smaller universities, that does happen, but that does not happen to the level of which anyone would expect. It's a lot of international students hang out with other international students. Going to a smaller university, it also comes with the benefits of you being able to interact with the local Canadian students and kind of getting involved in the local community, in the small town or the smaller city that you're living in. That allows you to expand your horizons and to actually integrate into the Canadian society a lot more than if you would have gone to a bigger city. Number 2, there are a lot less people in Atlantic Canada. So in New Brunswick, you have about 750,000 people. On Prince Edward Island, you have about 140,000 people. In Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, I'm guessing it's about the same, maybe 100,000, like maybe more or less. And because there are so less people here, it's really easy if you're an outgoing person, if you like to talk to people, or even if you don't, to make more connections, for people to come and understand where you're from, what your education is, and what your personality is. You will understand that no matter where you go in this world, connections are always a good medium to have in order to secure more jobs, more opportunities, and just to expand your things other people might be providing to you. If you go to a bigger city, for example, a bigger city would offer you more opportunities but less instances of being really known in the community, and that might restrict your opportunities. Well, if you're in a smaller town, a smaller community, a smaller city on the eastern coast of Canada, people actually take a lot of interest in where you come from, what you have to offer, and a bunch of other stuff like that. And so that really helps you in establishing a base in this country and to have a community that you can call your own, where people know you and you can get a lot of references and a lot of opportunities, and people are much more willing to understand the different kind of variety of knowledge that you have, a lot of different ideas that you might have. People are more accepting of your creative ideologies than as compared to a bigger city. Third, old universities. So in Atlantic Canada, we have the oldest universities in New Brunswick. Now, the University of New Brunswick, located in Fredericton, New Brunswick, claims to be the oldest university in North America, oldest English-speaking university in North America. Mount Allison University, from which I'm a graduate of, go Mounties, yeah. It was established back in 1839, which makes it about 179 years old to this day. And it has still maintained its charm of being in a smaller community with a smaller student population of about 2,500 students, and offering very exclusive programs directed towards very specific liberal arts and science courses. There's other universities like St. Thomas, which has about the same kind of population. There's the University of King's College, which offers exclusive programs in journalism. And then there's bigger universities like Dalhousie and St. Mary's, UNB, and Memorial University of Newfoundland, which offer engineering programs and medicine and sciences and law and humanities, which also help in kind of getting this integrated education that you might be looking for. Number 4 is established programs. So every university, from what I have noticed personally during my stay here in Atlantic Canada, is that every university has a distinct program of their own. For example, Mount Allison is highly recognized in liberal arts and sciences and offers you a lot of opportunities to do research, to publish papers, and do a lot of coursework, a lot of lab work, a lot of writing, which improves your overall technical knowledge. It gives you a base of what good education is, and it also offers you the opportunity to interact a lot with your professors. This is similar to the accounts that I've heard from my friends who go to St. Thomas University in Fredericton or to ACADIA in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. In bigger universities like Dalhousie University, which is located in Halifax, it offers you a lot of very concise, precise programs in highly specialized programs like law, like engineering, dentistry, medicine, and that goes along when you have a unique combination of subjects and a diverse range of sets and diverse set of skills. A lot of employers would be potentially be looking at you to be hiring you in order to join their company, because you offer such a unique kind of blend of other universities like St. Mary's University, for example, offers a lot of distinct programs in commerce and finance. And if you're a student athlete, SMU is probably the place to go because they have one of the best athletic teams from what I've seen on the East Coast. Other universities might beg to differ, but that's just my general observation. Memorial University of Newfoundland is probably the cheapest university you could attend in Canada. It's because it's the only university in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and it gets a lot of funding from the federal government and the provincial government, and which helps them subsidize the rates of tuitions a lot. For example, just to give you guys a perspective, international tuition fees in Mount Allison universities is about $17,000 for international students. Which is still very cheap compared to a lot of universities in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the US, with the same, or even I would even argue, a better quality of education. Compared to that, Memorial University of Newfoundland, as far as I know, as far as the last time I checked, the tuition fees for international students was $8,800 for the whole year, which is equal to what a Canadian student would pay to attend Mount Allison, but you paid that as an international student. And for anyone who wants to come and study in Canada, Memorial could be a great resource because of the funding opportunities that they provide and the kind of programs that they have. It gives you an opportunity to kind of explore what studying abroad is for maybe half the cost of what other universities might be asking. This also goes, when compared to India, $8,800, which is about 4.5 lakh rupees, 450,000 rupees for anyone who does not know the Indian numbering system. 4.5 lakh rupees is what a normal school, a normal university college in India would charge, regardless of where you decide to study. just the added benefit is that you get to study in Canada. You have this incredible opportunity to make friends from all over the world and get a world-class education that is valued almost anywhere in the world. Fifth point is that education in Atlantic Canada is cheap. And by cheap, I mean it's cheap. It's so much cheaper than going to the United States to study. Going to Australia, for example, is because the cost of living is so high in Australia. It has better prospects of staying back after you're done with your university degree, unlike in the UK, where you are not allowed to stay in the country unless you find a highly skilled work in your field of education. And yeah, so I think given all of these integrated opportunities, it's a very, very good and wise decision to come and study in Atlantic Canada. And yeah, I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you.